Bible, 2 hands on a rifle, and only thing he owns is on his back.
Carter Hewins, you are a country music singer, and you wanted to come on the podcast and talk about your the unique way you feel about your career and the direction you want it to go.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. So I don't really listen to country music all that much. I used to when I was a kid. I listened to nothing but country music when I was a kid, and then it was like rock and roll revolution for me.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that. What kind of direction would you like your career to go?
Well, yeah, first, I'd just like to thank you, Ricky, for having me on the show, taking time out of your day to have me on. I know you've been getting over some flu or something, some flu bug, but
a little bit of sickness.
Yeah, but yeah, I just appreciate you having me on to tell a little bit about my story and what I'm trying to do here and with my music career and all that. But yeah, my name's Carter Hewins. I'm a country music singer-songwriter. I've only been in it for about a month. I've had a single out, came out November 22nd, so coming up on a month, but yeah, I do country music. I'll even get into, it's not really contemporary, Yeah. It's kind of older. I have I've been told I have a little bit of an old soul, I guess. So I'm into the older stuff. I mean, it's coming back too. I mean, there's a bunch of artists, I can think of, Zach Top. I mean, everyone's heard of him, and that's 90s country, and that's kind of what I'm going for. But yeah, I mean, I just love music, country music, really any music I like. And
so what type of direction do you want to, so if you would, I know your single's called A Guitar and a Bible.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that and how you came up with the name of that song. Did you write the song yourself?
Yeah, I did write the song. Here back in September, I had 5 different songs. I wrote, and I did the guitar parts and all these different parts. But that one I like probably the most, and I released it first, and it kind of, I don't know, it means probably the most to me. But I came up with the name. I was working one day, and I'm always thinking about stuff. I probably should be thinking about work. I always get yelled at for it. I work with my uncle and my dad, and but anyways, I'm always thinking about music and stuff, and I'm like, if I didn't necessarily write the song about me, but if I only had like 2 things, and if everyone else was gone, and if I only had 2 things, what would I have?
What would those 2 things be?
Guitar and a Bible. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. But
So what came first, the melody or the lyrics?
The name came first.
Yeah.
And then I think at the time I was kind of messing with this little melody on guitar, and it kind of just started from there. I kind of wrote a little story about it. I mean, I'm just getting into the songwriting and stuff, so I don't know, but I think it's better than not trying at all. So I mean, the Guitar and a Bible, yeah, I mean, if I only had 2 things, it'd probably be that.
I hear you,
and
man.
So,
if I only had 2 things to carry around with me outside my loved ones, it would probably be, my phone for podcasts. So I listen to podcasts all the time and catch up with UFO news and stuff like that. And music also. I love music. And the other thing would be, gosh, I don't even know. I'm not religious, so it wouldn't be a Bible. I can't play music. I'm not talented like that. So
A microphone for your podcast.
yeah, well, hey, I don't know. If as long as I had other people I could listen to,
Yeah.
I think I'd be okay without talking.
Yeah.
Because if it was just me, coffee.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey,
Coffee and my phone. Yeah, I could do that.
I could write a song for you.
Coffee and my phone. Yeah. So, man,
Yeah.
we talking about music, dude. That's something that everybody can everybody can have in common is music. If nothing else, if we don't have, like, you and I just met, and
Yeah.
of course, we don't really have anything in common.
Yeah.
Like, you're 20 years younger than I am. It's like you just got done processing a deer.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, we had a couple deer we had to process. I don't hunt, but my brothers do, and my cousin Ethan got one, and my brother Cody got one. They got some pretty nice bucks. But yeah, we got them just processed this morning. And
Did you bring any with you?
no, we freeze them and everything. So we got the freezers full. So
That's important.
I live off that stuff.
Hey, that's something else we have in common, because I don't hunt or anything like that, but I
Yeah.
do believe in being prepared.
Yeah,
And you know that song "Country Boy Can't Survive."
I know.
It's
Was that Waylon Jennings?
no, it's Hank Jr.
Oh shoot, I
think.
don't know.
Man,
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah,
I should know that one too.
you should. You should.
I was singing it today.
But so it's like that. For me, I really like being prepared. I really like
Yeah.
I guess Southern way of life. It's
Yeah.
always being prepared, always knowing how to do things.
Yeah.
And like how to hunt, how to
Yeah.
fish, stuff like that. Grow your own food.
Yeah, I do a lot of that. I'm more of the, I do, so another thing I do is I kind of homestead and farm.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. We'll get along great.
I know. I have it's about a 1.5 acre garden I pretty much raise.
Holy
and
crap.
pretty much all by myself. My grandpa will do he's got the tractor and he'll do the tilling and all that in the spring and the fall. But, yeah, I do a lot of pumpkins. And I just wrapped up my 3rd growing season.
Nice.
And as a, selling pumpkins. And it kind of helps my music out, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of help you buy equipment and stuff,
Yeah.
and maybe
More guitars.
more guitars. Hey, if whatever works.
Yeah, it really did. It actually did help with the making of all those different songs and stuff that I had. So
Hell yeah.
pretty sweet.
The more you get into it, like professionally, just the more in love you'll fall in love with. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The more in love you'll become with it.
Yeah, I know. And the thing too is, like, trying to find my sound. And I guess, we can kind of go into that. Like, I love what I'm doing and stuff. And it just kind of, it's only been about a month and of me actually kind of being into this world, this whole new music business and everything. And I think it's just really about trying to find my sound and really learning my voice and like what works for me, what people like, and what style I should go for. I think is really the main goal.
I don't know about with music, but with podcasting and things, I know what helps me is doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
And following the direction. Like, if I'm excited to talk to a person, I don't really care how many views it gets. I don't really care if I make any money off of it. It's not about that for me. It's the connection. Like right here, right now, we just made a connection on homesteading of all things. I'm not a homesteader. You said when you pulled up here, it's like you're out in the suburbs, and I'm like, kinda, yeah. But it's about connection for me, and you got to find that connection with your audience. But I think that you should follow your heart and what you want to do, what you like. If you sit down and you close your eyes and you think, what would I want to listen to? And if you play that, if you play what you love, I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like when I'm writing and stuff, I'm like, this doesn't really have much emotion stir up in me.
Yeah.
But I mean, sometimes when I'm writing, I'll just kind of cry. I'm like, whoa, this is kind of good. And
Those
so
are the songs that I think probably do the best, the ones that resonate. Like
Yeah,
if
really.
you're feeling it, you could bet your ass that there's
Yeah.
100 other people out there just like you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just, like I said, trying to find my sound and, what key should I do this in? What key is my voice? What do I fit? Like where does my voice fit and kind of thing. But yeah, it's just finding my sound. And I think too, like you mentioned, not really doing it for the money, just doing it because you love it. And, it's what you want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like where I'm at right now. And it's like, this stuff costs a lot of money to do and hire people to play different parts on different things. But I can do most of the parts, but it's like, it's a lot of money and it can be kind of, I don't really get caught up in that and I try not to. And, I don't really want to do it for the money. I just have a love for music and I just want people to enjoy it too.
That's
and it's
awesome.
just, like your podcast, it's just kind of one of those things. I don't really want to do it for the money.
Yeah, yeah. I've always described it. If I make money on this, great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. If I don't ever make a dime off of it, which I've already made a little bit.
Yeah.
If I don't make any money, at least I've got a really cool hobby that,
Yeah.
that's how I look at it.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
really
for
my
sure.
job. I do treat it like a job because it's that time consuming. It really
Yeah.
takes a lot of talking to other people and making connections and reaching out.
Yeah.
And, when you first text me and talked to me and I was like, one of those, it was one of those, hey, I'm
Yeah.
glad you reached out kind of things. But also it's really difficult to answer right away because I got 300 other people I'm talking to.
Yeah.
And that's, I sometimes hard to find that balance of who do I shut down at the right moment,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure it's not just in here. You're always, doing stuff. It's outside.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
kind
I've
of the
got
same with me too.
4
Like,
kids
Yeah.
and a wife and
And a job.
I don't work.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so I'll explain a little bit about
Yeah.
that. I've been a stay-at-home dad for the last 11 years.
Oh, wow.
My wife has a little side gig that she does at night. I help her
Yeah.
out with that. We do like a half and half type of deal on that.
Oh, sweet.
But for the most part, I just stay home and
Really?
I take care of the house and take care of the kids.
Oh, dang.
The kids, all the kids are school age or
Yeah.
older. We have 2 kids that are out of the house and 2 kids at home. But what it is I don't have enough time to go to work for 8 hours. I've got a good chunk of 6 hours in the middle of the day I could
Yeah.
probably work. But it's somebody has to be here in the morning for the kids. Somebody has to be here in the afternoon for the kids. And there's not enough time for me to just take off 8 solid hours and go to work.
Could be like an Uber driver or something.
Not for me. Not for me. I could if I really had to, I probably could, but
Yeah.
things would have to get really bad,
Yeah.
for me to have to want to do that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather work in a factory or something,
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's number one, there's more money in it,
Yeah.
and number two, it's just, you have something to be proud of, and you're making shit and just, down
Yeah.
and dirty. Sometimes you got to get down and dirty for the money that you earn. And I
Yeah.
believe that, and there's a place for everybody out there, like Uber drivers, and it's a thing,
Yeah.
but I don't think it'd be for me. I could do a taxi cab. I would do a taxi cab. I would be a taxi driver.
Really?
Absolutely. But Uber, nah, it's not for me.
I think can't you just like clock in like whenever you want? It's just like, hey, I'm open.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you
and then
can.
If you
I
get a
think-
ride, you get a ride. And if you don't,
I think that's, there's Lyft, I think does that.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's
I'm
a
not
couple
too
of them out
familiar
there.
yeah,
I'm not
It's
that.
out there.
I'd much rather just, flip on a sign and have, people come to me.
yeah. And then I guess I can kind of go into that because I work, I've kind of mentioned I work with my dad and my uncle.
Yeah.
We have a business, or they have a business over there in Wathena where I live and everything. And I work at the sawmill there in Wathena.
Oh yeah.
So I'm there 40 hours a week, and it's kind of like a factory job. So maybe you can
I could do a sawmill. That's hard work though.
Yeah,
that is hard work.
It's not easy. You pretty much just stack boards all day.
Heavy lifting, and it's cold in the winter time, and
it's
hot
pretty
in
cold
the summer.
Yeah.
And it just dirty too.
Yeah.
Dirty.
You got sawdust everywhere.
Yes.
You get it in your coffee.
Yeah,
That's the best.
It actually probably wouldn't be that bad for me. I like the taste of it. It's
Sawdust in your coffee.
I think, yeah, well, there's this, what the hell is the name of that restaurant? It's a shitty restaurant. Cracker Barrel.
Oh.
They got that sawed.
You don't like
sawmill
Cracker Barrel?
Hell no, I don't like Cracker Barrel, man.
What?
So I think my wife spoils me. There's a lot better food that comes out of my kitchen than any restaurant that I've ever been to. Oh my goodness.
Dang. So you don't have to go out.
No, not really. As a matter of fact, going out sometimes is a disappointment because you go out and you spend so much money at a restaurant and you just like, oh man, it's good food. I'm sure my wife appreciates not having to cook sometimes, but even she'll admit like, we should have just ate at home. It sucks, you know? And, but there's a few places out there that's not like that. The best steak I ever had in my life was in Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Wow.
And
It's a ways away.
Yeah, it was, well, I was working for MCON at the time, and we were in Ponca City, Oklahoma, or somewhere near there, and we asked one of the pipeliners, where's the best steak in Oklahoma? And they said, Rusty Barrel Supper Club in Ponca City. So that's where we went, and it was like one of those black tie, or black jacket, suit and tie kind of places. And we showed up. It was in an alleyway. And it was a little creepy.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah, it was an alleyway in a mall. Yeah. And so it was one of those knock on the door type of things. And they opened the door and they seen we were dressed, you know, like construction workers. And they were like, you got to have a jacket to get in here. And we were like, well, you know, we asked one of these pipeliners, where's the best steak? They didn't tell us no dress code or anything, but we're from out of town.
But they let you in.
They let us in. And it was, they had a big old fire pit in the middle of the place. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was really nice. And
wow.
I felt a little odd going there with another dude to eat. That's how nice it was. So we go in the place and they seat us and everything, and they bring us out this menu. And I'm telling you, it's like $100 a plate.
I was going to say, how much is the plate?
It was a lot. And I get the ribeye steak, best steak I've ever had in my life. Now, now I say that, I bet my wife could cook it better.
Really?
If she had the steak.
Yeah.
Like if she had the type, because it was a dry aged steak.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if we could buy something like that at the store, I bet my wife would cook it up better. I'm spoiled, man.
Yeah,
she's a kitchen magician. Like tonight, you ate at Barbosa's here in St. Joe.
Yeah, it's been a while though.
We're gonna make their burritos.
Really?
Or their enchiladas. I'm sorry.
You don't have to go out, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I can cook. I pretty much make like deer chili this time of year.
Oh yeah.
Deer steak. I pretty much live off that kind of stuff. And I grow my own food, so I'm pretty much just living off that.
I'm going to assume that you know how to can your own food.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yep, that's where it's at. So I'd like to be
pretty fun.
I'm not one of those doomsday preppers or anything like that. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not even prepared for this upcoming winter. But I like when people know how to do shit. Yeah. And especially
it's useful.
Like you're 19, you're young, you know, and for you to know how to do all these things at your age is great, you know. And I know you come from a town of like 1,900 people.
Watsina, man.
It's not that much. If it's 1,900.
I think it's 1,200.
Is it? Yeah, 1,200. So I love that place. Yeah. And it is, for all intents and purposes, it's a little city. It's not. Yeah. It is a small town, but it's got a little city feel to it. It's a nice place.
Yeah,
nice
downtown,
people.
Yeah, it really is nice. Yeah, I mean, I've lived there my whole life. I've never really known any different. It's a pretty nice place up there in the bluffs.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Missouri River Bluffs.
it's a beautiful place too.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid,
Uh-huh.
I was like 11 when I moved there.
Yeah.
And everybody was really nice. I mean, a lot of
Oh, so
kids
you
that I went
lived
to
there?
yeah, I lived there
Really?
for a little bit. I know
Okay.
that the kids I went to school with were assholes to me, but that was just like the new kid on the block syndrome thing.
Yeah,
But once they
yeah.
got to know me, man, I had a really good time growing up
Oh,
there. And I was 16 when I moved back over here.
Wow. Okay.
And so I've lived over here most of my life. And but the little amount of time that I was over there made a big impact on me. I met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
I worked for a lot of great people over there.
Yeah,
Tyler and Jim Miller.
Okay, yeah.
Man, those guys are great. I love them guys.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I worked for MCon for like 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I know exactly.
You're
I know
Wathenian,
exactly
man.
where you work, and I spent a lot of time there, and especially like I grew up in the north end of St. Joe, primarily, but from the ages of 11 to 16, I was over there in Wathena. Now we're talking a difference of like 5 miles, but
Yeah.
it's a world away. It seems like,
Yeah.
it seems like the people over here are a lot different than the people over there. You know, it's a lot rougher over here than it is over there.
Yeah.
You'd say.
It is pretty nice over there. It's, I don't know. Most of my family's over there. My dad's side of the family all is from there and everything. I mean, my family's been there, like if we're talking like last name kind of thing, we've been there since like the 1850s. So
Yeah,
we've been
yeah.
there for a while. There's pretty old families around there, but yeah, it's
like
really
the way
nice.
of life
I don't know,
around
it's a
there.
vibe.
I like the way of life around there. And that, like you said, you work at a sawmill. Man.
Yeah.
Fucking love it, man. I love every bit of that.
Yeah.
For me, it's more like, and you know what? Like maybe I need some shelves. I need some shelves
We got
over
some,
here. Maybe we can meet up and
Yeah, I know.
work something
I'll
out.
have to give you my dad's number. Or
Hell
something.
yeah. Hell yeah. But we were just talking about that not too long ago. I was wanting some shelves out here, and I'm wanting to actually build, some nice ass podcasting table and
Yeah.
put some holes in it for
You
this
need
stuff.
some black walnut
Oh,
like
hell
slabs.
Yeah.
Get a thick black walnut slab.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's some. You'll have to look it up, but I mean, there's some really pretty like people will do these like river tables.
Oh yeah.
And
That's
it's
what
like
I want to do.
yeah.
That's what we
It's
want to
pretty
do.
sweet.
My brother.
I know nothing about how to build them. But
Yeah, so my brother knows exactly how to do. The problem with it is
Oh, dang.
that it's so expensive, right? Like
Yeah.
the slabs. You know how much that shit costs you guys.
It's a lot.
So I mean,
black walnut is
right?
expensive.
You know how much it costs you guys, and then not only how much it costs you guys, but after I'd get it from you guys, I'd have to have it dried somewhere,
And then have someone make it, or if you were to make it yourself, and then you'd have to buy all the stuff.
yeah. So I mean, by the time we're all said and done, we're talking at least $4,000 or $5,000 for a table, and I can't afford all that. But like
Yeah,
it's
stuff's
something like
expensive.
I'm sure you guys cut different stuff and like
There's cheaper options. And stuff.
edge glued just bullshit you buy from like Menards.
Oh yeah.
The edge glued tables, it's like wood. I don't even know what kind of wood it is, but it's called the edge glued. It looks like this, but it's just like shitty wood pressed
Yeah,
together.
very good.
Yeah, at different lengths and stuff that they've had to cut down, and instead of wasting it, they glue it together so that you could make a countertop out of it or something. I was thinking that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it'd be cheap. That's your cheaper option.
Yeah, because the money that we'd have to put into it, is something I want to try to avoid at first, because like it's not making any money per se. Like I make a little bit, not like exorbitant. Like I definitely don't make enough to pay for that table.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're running this thing off a
walnut.
webcam right now.
Yeah.
And eventually, like next year, within the next couple of months, we're gonna move. We're gonna take the computer completely out of it. We're gonna set up cams and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Big professional setup.
That'd be pretty sweet.
But the price of that shit is so expensive. Like you're talking about your music production stuff is so expensive. Like think there is cheaper stuff that we can use, but the production quality that you get out of that is limited. Like the webcam here, there's no reason why we couldn't set up 2 or 3 webcams.
Yeah.
But it's the quality of the video that's like, meh, you know.
Yeah.
And when we first started, I was like, okay, we'll get the cheap shit for now. And then now that it's expanding and we're getting more popular and making a little bit of money on it, you know, it's like, okay, now I've got to make things bigger. I've got to make it better so that we can continue on this path so I can keep doing this.
Well, that's
thing.
good, you know, and that, you know, with my music and everything, it's kind of the same way. I mean, it's not like, and you know, I said I'm not really concerned about the money and everything, but you know, you kind of have to be a little bit, and it's like, because you can go broke pretty fast, probably if you're not kind of smart, just kind of have your head to the ground, kind of thing, and know what you're doing. But you know, it's like I'd like to be making money. I'm soon, you know, it'd be cool. You know, I need to do some gigs or something over in St. Joe. Just hey, I'll be here.
I got a buddy
Saturday.
I'll hook you up with, man. He might be able to help you on the right track because he does a lot of stuff here in town.
Yeah.
I won't mention his name right now because I don't want to. Well, I'll just say Dan Rathman. He's a comedian here in town.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He knows a lot of people that do the gigs and stuff. So
yeah, that's what I need to get on. You know, it'll make some money, help support, and then you know, you can help build your fan base a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I also know a guy that does a couple bands here in town. Like he does a lot of his own music and stuff. So I know a few people. I might hook you up with.
That'd be
able to hook you up with some people that do gigs here in town, and maybe some outside of town too. Because I think one thing that is missing with society right now is the Bible. Yeah. And that's one thing that I'm not religious and I, like at all. I don't go to church. I mean, I believe, but I'm just not religious. But I think there's a component to religion that keeps families together.
Yeah.
And I think the nuclear family and kids being with their parents a little bit longer, both parents, not just a single parent.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I think, and I think religion, of whatever
it
kind,
holds it together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only holds it together, but promotes it. Man. It promotes the family unit instead of splitting up and being on your own. And you know what I mean? Yeah. Traditional values and traditional morals versus go out there and do whatever the hell you want. You know? I dig that, man. And especially somebody young and tied, not just tied to the earth, you know, just it is. And the more young people I'm running into and I'm speaking with, I'm like actually talking with you guys instead of just, oh, there's somebody fucking young. Yeah. You know? I'm actually talking to you guys. I'm finding out that you guys are feeling a lot of that.
I think there's a big, and I won't get into like politics and stuff too much,
you
but
can
like
get into it if you want,
but more so for my music and everything. But obviously, I'm a Christian. I've been saved for almost 3 years now, and you know, it just changed my life and everything. But like you're saying, you know, it just holds everything together. And I mean, like I've gone to church my whole life, but it didn't click until about 3 years ago, and it's just like, okay, I finally understand what this all means. You know, because you know you can know all the stories and everything and all that, but it just, you know, it never clicked. So anyways, I've been saved for 3 years, and I will get into that. You know, I am a Christian, but, and I think, like you're saying, you know, I think it's lacking in America. It used to be a pretty big, I don't know what the percentages are and everything, but
man,
I mean,
it's way higher.
I mean, everyone,
than what I thought it would be. It's like 50, it's over 50% of the country is Christian.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. And, I think it used to be a lot higher. Yeah. But and there's obviously been a decline in it, but But yeah, I think, and kind of sprinkle it into my music and everything would be kind of cool. And I maybe even do like a gospel album would be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Some country gospel or something.
Yeah, I like that, man, and
So-
I like that you say that you like the older stuff because
yeah.
I think I don't like 90s country's okay.
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah. That's good.
if you
stuff.
go older, like I like older older
yeah.
country. The newer stuff just doesn't do anything
Yeah.
for me.
There's some
what I
good
mean?
artists out there though.
Yeah, there
That
definitely
sound
is. There
like they
definitely
should have
is.
been in the 60s or 70s.
I'll tell you what, Chris Stapleton's one of my favorite
yeah.
country music artists.
You got the beard like him.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. My sister actually lives down near Nashville, so there's a few country music artists down there that I really like.
Oh, yeah.
But mostly just older 90s, 80s.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really like that genre.
Yeah, it's
and,
really
and the years.
Oh yeah, for sure. I get told I kind of sound like Randy Travis.
That's kind of what I was thinking
And,
when I heard your single.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that song, Three Wooden Crosses. You know
I know.
that song?
I love that song. I was
Yeah.
about to mention it. It's like, and he's done he did some gospel albums and everything. I mean, kind of bluegrassy, I've been listening to some of his stuff, and I think that's kind of like where I should go. Kind of not like imitate. I mean, use his what he's got in his music and everything to kind of
influence.
I'm a big Randy Travis fan. So
Hell yeah.
it's
Hell
pretty
yeah.
sweet. He has a great voice, and I don't know, people love him. And he had a stroke or something like 10 years ago, and I guess he had like a 1% chance of living, and it's like he can't sing or anything now, but people like he's a huge star still. And it's crazy. So I think people are longing for that voice and everything, but and then at the same time, it's like I'm trying to find it my own voice.
Simpler days,
But,
I think, is what it is. Simpler
Yeah.
times, like. Not to get too far in the weeds in politics.
Yeah.
I mean, society has gotten so far removed from good times, man.
Yeah.
We
I
don't
think we can
remember
both
that
agree.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back the early 2000s was a good time in America, and it's sad to say, but we had a lot of tragedy that happened back then that really contributed to the patriotic feel to America. Do you miss those days, the patriotic days? Do you feel patriotic?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I do, but I don't know if I was even thought of back then. Early 2000s.
Well, you're 19, obviously.
Yeah, I was born in
but-
05, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, everyone, it seems, politics weren't really talked about as much as what I talked about, like what my dad says and my grandpa, no one really mentioned it. It was kind of keep quiet about it and move on. We're at the end of the day, we're all Americans, I think.
Yeah, I think
But I don't know.
back in the day, there used to be a surefire way to ruin a conversation is to talk about religion and politics.
Yeah, but
And
that
those
might
are
be
two things that people like talking about these days.
And I saw this meme or something. It's like, oh, don't talk about religion or politics. But then it's like, well, maybe it's like that's the reason we're so divided is because we never talked about it. We can't have a civil discussion about it. It's
That's
like we
what
can't
it's all
ever
about.
agree.
It's like civil discussion.
So maybe we should talk about it.
You and I don't have to agree on everything, and I'm sure we don't.
Yeah.
I'm sure we don't. But I think that the world would get along better with just more dialogue. If they if people just stop hating on each other for a moment to realize like we're all people. We're all in this together.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we can go now is, that's where I want to go with my music is like, at the end of the day, like, I don't really care if my fans are Republican, Democrat.
Hell yeah.
If you're a Christian, non-Christian, it's, I think at the end of the day, it's like, we can all come together because it's just good music,
Absolutely.
And that's where I really want to go. And I think, you can make those connections with people, and I think good music is one of those. It's just kind of something you can take your mind off of the world for a second and listen to a song. I saw this I don't know who said it, or I don't know if I was listening to a podcast or something, but they're like, music is it's almost like a drug or something. It's like a mood altering
Yeah,
drug.
for sure.
And I'm like,
for sure.
yeah, that's where I want to go with my music. And it's, I think I've been told that it'll set you, in a different mood and everything. It's like, that's how I feel when I listen to music. That's how I'd like to feel. And it's, it's moving, and and maybe as a musician, I feel it in a different way because, I can get maybe a little bit more emotional than some people. But like, if you can have your emotion in your music, and then all people can just enjoy it, sit back and listen to a good song.
I think if you're a musician, it's actually easier to let it come out in your music.
Yeah.
I think creative people have that in common. If we just let our emotions out in whatever we're doing, like podcasting.
Yeah.
If I feel like today, I've been looking forward to this all day. And, at the beginning of the morning, I was like, all right, it's time we got to get ready for this podcast. And hell yeah, let's get it going. And then by the time 1:30 got here, I was ready to roll. And then when you got here, I was thrown off my game a little bit because, like you said, I've been, I've been getting over a cold.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just the obnoxiousness of the kids and the wife leaving and the chaos going on right before we came in here. And then we put on the headphones and we just engage. And I like that. And that's like that's the way I like to do things. Yeah, it's exactly like my music.
Interesting, and that's exactly, I think, where I want to go. I just want to have something where people can connect to, regardless of race, religion, whatever.
Politics.
Hell
yeah.
So I think that's kind of where I want to go to. And, country music is kind of becoming a pretty big thing. It's, the charts are like pop is always going to be pretty big, but then it's like country is like the second biggest kind of genre, and I think there's a ton of artists out there, and I'm just one of like hundreds and thousands of artists. But so then it's like, how do I stand out? And that's where I want to go to from there, is kind of figuring out who's Carter Hewins kind of thing. It's
absolutely.
Like, make a name for myself, I guess.
So who is Carter Hewins? What do you like to do? I know that we talked a little bit about homesteading. I'd like to get back to that. Is that something like, is that something you see yourself doing farther into the future? Is homesteading, and then also like how you work in a sawmill right now?
Yeah.
How long do you think you'll be there?
Well, I'm hoping the music does good and I can kind of do that. And I don't know, but yeah, I work in the sawmill full time there, and I do the farming on the side and everything, and my music too. But I'd really I really want to put my focus on the music and everything.
Hell yeah.
I need to make money too. So it's like,
absolutely.
and that's why I'm like,
do you see the sawmill as like a means to an end at some point then? And then you'll probably farm for the rest of your life, I'd imagine.
I don't know.
I would.
I'd like to be doing music though, man.
You could do both. You could absolutely do both. Like
there's an artist out there, Coulter Wall.
Yeah.
He'll do, he like ranches up in Montana.
Hell yeah.
For the in the spring, and then he'll go and tour in like the fall and the winter time. It's like, how does he like, so maybe I could do that, and it's kind of
I think you'd have to have people around you that really get you. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, I don't know, man. It's hard to you know it as well as I do. This it's hard to break out of a place like this.
Yeah, when there's hundreds of people doing it, and it's like, how do you stand out?
Exactly. And then the places that you can go, like Branson and places like that, you really got to be big to even get there, you know. And then it's like, it is difficult to break out of a place like this, no matter like what you're doing. And that's been frustrating for me as a creative type of person, is like, what do I want to do? You know? And then when I started this podcasting thing, I realized that like news doesn't get out of this town. News doesn't get out of this area. So if anything big happens here, nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, maybe I ought to focus on that stuff, you know? But I really, really, really like just talking to people. And so that's what I wanted to do. And I really like that you are focused on doing your thing and that you want to, of course you want to make money, but you want to focus on music first of all, and making people happy and bringing people together. I really like that, man. And that speaks to patriotism itself. Is growing up and seeing how people used to be versus how people are now, you know. And I don't see division when I walk outside the front door, but like people are still nice to each other, but they're not as nice. Really? You know what I mean? You know,
I guess I wouldn't know any different.
Where you grew up is kind of like a world away from this place, even though it's only 5 miles. It is a world away. Like I hear sirens all day, all night. Yes, it's nuts. Dang. It's nuts. I do love it here though. This is home, but you know, it is really hard to break out of a place like this. What do you think? What do you think? The first step ought to be? Are you going to go try to do some gigs here in town and then work out from there?
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool to do some gigs. But I think, you know, at the same time, I think times have changed, and with social media and everything. Yeah. I mean, you could break out. I mean, like Noah Kahan, he had a song, Stick Season. I mean, that song blew up. But then like I think it was like 2020 or something, maybe 2022, he's like, he just got on a TikTok one day. He filmed the little video, maybe like the chorus or something. He's like, should I make a song out of this? And it like blew up. And then he made a song out of it. And then all of a sudden, this last year was a hit. Yeah. You know, I'm sure he did some local gigs and stuff, but it's like,
I think the most difficult part of that would be just following it up. Following up, like, how do you top that? And what's your next thing?
Yeah, that's true too. And then I don't know, I mentioned Zach Top, but Zach Top, he's played probably tons of gigs and everything before this, but he never went to Nashville. He never did the Nashville thing. And you know, he's all the way out in some small town out in Washington State. And he started doing videos and stuff, and then they're like, hey, you should maybe come out to something Nashville.
To that. Yeah. I think there may be something like staying out of that, because there's so much competition there. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it might be a little bit easier to get recognized on the internet and on social media.
I think it really is. But at the same time, I think gigs are good too. Yeah. You can, you can gain some fans and stuff, maybe sell some T-shirts if you got T-shirts.
Yes. I love T-shirts.
That's what makes the money.
That's what I hear. I hear a lot of people like, we make twice as much on merch as we do anything else. I'm like, okay.
I heard someone say, they're like, well, you want to be a musician? It's like, well, you're pretty much like a traveling T-shirt salesman.
Yeah. I've heard that actually a lot.
So I don't know. And I'm getting merch and stuff, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I want to give away too much, but I got some designs and everything. We'll be putting it on T-shirts and stuff, you know.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, I think that could possibly make me some money for this kind of stuff. I'm hoping
I hope so. I tell you what, like, I think if we did a little bit of merch, we could make money too. But like, I tell you what, how it was really weird to see my face on shit. It was.
Yeah, that's how I was kind of.
The first thing, like when I got the logo back from the designer, it's like, man, that's really nice. And then I see it on YouTube and I was like, oh shit, there I am. Yeah. So it's a little intimidating at first, but it's awesome. I think authenticity is a big thing that people are into
Yeah.
these days. I've had quite a few people talk to me on the podcast and tell me like, hey, that's what we like is authenticity.
Yeah.
And I think younger people especially are looking to, man, we already know like 95% of the world is all bullshit, man. Like
Yeah.
we want to be that 5% that's not.
Yeah.
We want to be ourselves. And
You want to be genuine and
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, that's where I kind of want to go. It's like I want to be someone who like people can relate to, and it's just
Hell yeah.
have that in the music kind of thing. And there's some artists who are out there, and it's like and they find it and they get it and they blow up because it's like they're genuine and they're humble too.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys, they'll be so like prideful and everything, and it's like, you're from St. Joe. It's just like,
Absolutely.
or you're just like you're just one of like hundreds of musicians. And that's where I'm, it's like, you can't get prideful about this.
I think sometimes you have to be though.
Yeah.
It does take a little bit of ego to do shit like this. It really does. And I think where people screw up on the flip side of that is doing too much.
Yeah.
And faking it, and being like, fake it till you make it. And it's like, no, I can tell you're faking it. That goes along with that authenticity part of it, Be yourself, be authentic, and people, people listen because there's plenty of people out there just like you.
Yeah.
There's 19-year-olds everywhere that like to farm, and homestead and, work
But do they like to play guitar?
Love to play guitar. And,
Maybe.
there's lots of 19-year-olds out there. Man, if I had two things that I had to carry with me,
Yeah.
a guitar and a Bible, there's plenty of people out there just like that. And they're waiting to hear from people like you. And it's a big part of the reason why I do what I do is because I know there's a lot of people out there like me looking for a voice like me. So, going back to music.
Yeah.
What, do you just like country music or do you like rock or?
I'll listen to some rock every now and then, but, mostly country, bluegrass I really like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of Billy Strings, but he's bluegrass and, he's really blown up. He's probably one of the best guitar players in our time. He's insane, but I love his music and everything and the stories, he can tell. And that's where kind of two of my songs are inspired by Billy Strings. So it's like, kind of where I'm going to. I got some bluegrassy kind of songs.
Yeah. I like, when I was listening to a guitar and a Bible, I was thinking, man, it's got some good blues to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bluesy. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Country.
I'm a big blues fan. Blues, rhythm and blues is one of those things that I don't think I'll ever grow out of loving. But
there's some good players.
Rock and roll music is really what I love and what I prefer.
Yeah.
Heavy metal, heavy rock, hard rock.
Really?
That's my
Metallica?
stuff. Yeah, Metallica was my favorite band when I was like 6.
Oh yeah.
So, I've loved Metallica for a long, long time.
Yeah, they're fun.
I named my kid after the lead singer of Godsmack.
Oh,
yeah. So, my youngest name is Rocket.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I'll listen to rock and I like 90s grunge is good.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot of people love Nirvana, and those are that band.
Jam.
Love Pearl Jam. I love Pearl Jam. Nirvana was technically good, but they were technically good. I liked them. It's just I think they got overplayed a lot when I was younger, and then there was a lot of people that liked them ironically.
Yeah.
That would they were the people that Nirvana hated. So then there was that whole time during the early 2000s where people would wear their t-shirts around and not listen to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was that's Nirvana was one of those bands that like was really cool for other people to really like. So that kind of turned me off of them, I guess. But then there was the Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
good.
we got the Foo Fighters from Nirvana, and I really like the Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, you win some, you lose some,
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, 90s grunge, I guess, it's a genre.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty good. I do like
a lot
Pearl
of
Jam.
they're good. I mean, I like all music. I mean, I love the like jazz and stuff like that. And it's,
Oh yeah, yeah. I get into classical music sometimes as well.
Jazz. I mean, jazz. I mean, you got your 60s bands like the Beatles and stuff are pretty cool.
Hold your hand.
Yeah. And it's just, I think it's a thing too, just to kind of know the music history.
Yeah.
Kind of know where it came from. And it's kind of cool. It's because it's like, oh, this kind of sounds like that. And it's like, oh, it's like kind of like Beatles inspired. It's like, or it's like, there's a new country band out in Midland and they're like, oh, this is kind of like the Eagles or something. It's like, it's,
but people like that stuff, you know,
Yeah.
and like, you know, we were talking about, you know, things being popular again, you know, things like the older styles are coming back because
for sure.
it was good music.
Yeah.
And musicians like yourself
Yeah.
like to hear and play that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you've heard of Greta Van Fleet.
Oh yeah. I've
They're
been to one of their
basically
concerts.
basically a Led Zeppelin ripoff.
Yeah.
Love that band.
Their lead singer is insane. He's so good.
Yes. And he's pretty
My
honest
gosh.
about like he had to change his voice up and everything. And
Really?
he's like, we had to figure out something that was working. So
I mean, it sounds good though. It
does. It does. I'm sorry. It does sound really good. And that's, I think that's what people really like is technical, good music, not just whatever's manufactured out of the latest, you know, pop kind of, you know, you know how that, you know, Hollywood and they push out some ridiculous shit that just nobody likes. It just people.
I think people
like
just want genuine stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that, I mean, a big artist, I mean, Zach Bryan, everyone loves Zach Bryan. He's good. I mean, he's obviously, blown up. I mean, everyone really likes him.
Yeah.
But I listen to his stuff and it's like, this is Bob Dylan. It's like, this is like pretty much Bob Dylan. I think, you know, obviously not vocals and everything, but it's kind of got that, it's folk, it's country folk. So that's the genre. And it's, you know, it's kind of cool how that's kind of coming back around. And then, I mean, you got Zach Bryan, and then you have all these other artists who are kind of like Zach Bryan. You know, they're trying to be like Zach Bryan. It's like,
instead of doing their own shit.
yeah. And I mean, I think Zach Bryan,
that's where Zach Bryan went good. Like he did good was because he may be like Bob Dylan, but he put his own thing to, and he plays what he wants to be instead of he's not trying to be popular. He's not trying to play like other people are coming and trying to emulate Zach Brown or Zach Brown. So
Zach Brown band.
So they're trying to emulate that.
Yeah.
Because they want to be where he is instead of doing their own freaking thing. You know? And I think that's, I think that's really brilliant that you think that way, that you were like, man, I want to do what I want to do. I want to do my own thing. That way I just bring people together. We listen to music together, and it's we have a conversation through music. I love it. I dig it. But you know what?
Sure.
I think that's a great place to leave this conversation, man. I'm gonna have you back on, but before you want to play a song, or
I could play.
Grab your guitar. Let's play.
Okay. Guitar and a Bible, two hands on a rifle, and the only thing he owns is on his back. Never had a real job, had a friend named Bob, played music in the band. Never hung out by the pool, it wasn't all that cool. Had a guitar and had a plan. He kept a big dream of walking out on a big stage, crowds of people in bright lights. But the way he'd spend most nights, a guitar and a Bible, and 2 hands on a rifle, and the only thing he owns is on his back. Wakes up in the morning light when peace is hard to find. A guitar and a Bible is on his mind. Oh, yeah. A guitar and a Bible, 2 hands on a rifle, and only thing he owns is on his back. Wakes up in the morning light when peace is hard to find. A guitar and a Bible is on his mind. A guitar and a Bible is on his mind. A guitar and a Bible is on his mind. Hey,
I got goosebumps.
there you go.
Carter Hewins, everybody. We'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, peace.